Have you ever wondered why Tua Tagovailoa is the most hyper-criticized quarterback in the NFL? Fans of other teams have been ready to tear him down since the day he got drafted. Like, there have been numerous quarterbacks so far this season with terrible-looking throws, but the one that goes the most viral was a tipped ball by Tua. With the help of a neurospecialist, yes, a neurospecialist, I'm going to show you why you hate Tua. And I'm going to begin with a little demonstration of some other quarterbacks. But the whole screen is flipped, so Joe Burrow here is a lefty. These quarterbacks are praised time and time again for their beautiful throwing motion, but when they throw lefty, it just looks terribly off. On the flip side, you make Tua a righty, and all of a sudden his release looks clean as can be. But lefty Tua just looks wacky. We're used to seeing Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers rip apart defenses with beautiful throwing motions. So when we see a lefty, it feels so off because visually it is off. Neurospecialist Daniel Martinez, who apparently works with the brains of ex-NFL and MLB players, he wrote about this crazy phenomenon. He says, "Your brain is one of the most complex structures in the world. Yet in all of its complexities, it adamantly dislikes change, distrusts novel and atypical imaging, and makes you initially apprehensive of elements you're not accustomed to." He says if this sounds too simple, then try and rearrange the forks, spoons, and knives in your kitchen, or go sleep on the opposite side of your bed. With Tua, that's why people think he has a long or slow release, even though it's actually one of the fastest in the NFL. You instinctively want to dislike Tua as a passer, and that's why so many people do. We need to overcome that bias in order to even analyze Tua as a passer. When you look back at when the Dolphins hired Mike McDaniel and traded for Tyreek Hill, this is exactly what Dolphins fans were dreaming of. To be honest, this may very well be better than what some dreamed of. This offense didn't even look that great after week 1. You could tell that Hill and Waddle were going to be a force to be reckoned with, but Tua just didn't look accurate. In the end, he still ended up with 270 yards and a near 70% completion percentage, so Dolphins fans should be hoping that's the floor with him this year. And there's an argument that it could be with him working a new offense for the first time along with some new weapons. I guess the realistic hope is that we see a happy medium between week 1 Tua and week 2 Tua. If he can average out those two performances on a consistent basis, then he'll easily be effective enough to get this team into the playoffs. With that Ravens performance, he's already peaked higher than Jimmy Garoppolo did when working in the Shanahan-McDaniel system. This system is incredibly quarterback friendly, especially when you have the weapons to go along with it. But when it comes down to it, the quarterback still has to make all the throws. And in that second half, Tua sure was making all the throws. I know a lot of people are still going to be doubting Tua, and honestly, the doubters still have some merit because we need to see this on a more consistent basis. I think it is important to remember the jumps Josh Allen was able to take. I'm aware there's a 99% chance that Tua will never amount to a Josh Allen level, but the NFL as a league, especially fans, lack any sort of serious patience when it comes to developing young quarterbacks, especially in Tua's case, where he had to recover from a major injury early in his career. Josh Allen sorted out his flaws and gained Stephon Diggs, and the Bills went boom. Tua could potentially sort out his flaws while gaining Tyreek Hill on top of Jalen Waddle, and yes, this Dolphins offense could very well go boom. I'm trying to not overreact to one game because that Patriots game is still fresh on my mind where Tua didn't come close to convincing me of anything, but he has proven one thing now, and that his ceiling on any given Sunday is going toe-to-toe with what's looking to be another MVP caliber year from Lamar Jackson. It honestly felt like Alabama Tua. He looked incredibly poised even when being down, and that's something you can't teach. It reminds me of how he first burst onto the scene with that game winner in the national championship. He's not the type to be shaking in his boots when the odds are stacked against him, and let's just say there's been plenty of people ready to stack the odds against him. Tua became the second Dolphins quarterback to ever throw for at least 400 yards and 5 touchdowns in a single game. In fact, he almost did all that in the second half alone. And I know some people have brought up how Mitch Trubisky once threw 6 touchdowns in a game, but to be fair to Tua, Trubisky's outing was in a blowout, while Tua had to be near perfect in a dramatic comeback win. And it's also fair to point out how banged up the Ravens' defense was, which made it easier for Hill and Waddle to find such space. Even still, Tyreek Hill has proven something himself, and that's that he doesn't need Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid to be the most feared wide receiver in the NFL. Against the Ravens, he didn't even play the whole game due to cramps, and still ended up with 190 yards and 2 TDs. He just has this tremendous ability to ruin games and erase deficits. You think back to all those Chiefs comebacks where no lead ever seemed safe, or that Bucks-Chiefs regular season game where he blew the Bucks defense open for 203 yards in 1 quarter. And when we talk about Jalen Waddle, it's almost like they cloned Tyreek Hill. Similar body size, crazy speed, game-breaking type player. He hit 171 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Ravens. That's how you end up with the best wide receiver duo in the league. And I love what I've seen from Mike McDaniel so far. It seems like this Dolphins locker room is built off of this tremendous optimism that McDaniel carries. And that optimism has been passed on down to his star players. Throughout their time together, all we've heard from McDaniel and Hill and Waddle is that Tua is the man for the job. And most of the time, they'll go several steps farther than that. After Tua's 6 touchdown performance, all Waddle had to say was, "We expect that from him." When you think back to what was happening inside the locker room with Brian Flores, this is almost like the opposite. There were reports of players walking on pins and needles with a miserable team full of finger pointing. There was no trust or optimism with Tua. But now I know it's still early in the season, but it's clearly a changed atmosphere. You almost feel how much these players love their coach. Going back to that Ravens game, there's one stat that probably truly shows how improbable this comeback was, better than any other stat, from ESPN. Prior to Miami's win, teams trailing by at least 21 points in the fourth quarter had lost 711 straight games. Part of overcoming that improbability has to do with McDaniel's clutch play calling. On 3rd and 4th downs, they went 9 for 13. When you hear players floating all kinds of metaphors when talking about his play calling, that's why. And when you realize that McDaniel just took down Bill Belichick and John Harbaugh in his first 2 games, man, what a start. We need to see more stuff like this before we go saying they can compete for the division against the Bills. But it's hard not to feel very encouraged and think that they can at least be pushing for a wildcard spot in a conference crowded with playoff-deserving teams.